So we've seen a lot in the electric car industry, from things that are futuristic and almost spaceship-like in the Tesla Model X, to things like the Nissan Leaf, a little more unassuming, very plain economical looking cars. But one thing has always been missing from the electric car industry, and that's a truck. But that might be changing soon. So a few weeks ago, Rivian, a new electric car company, announced their Rivian R1T and R1S, the T for truck and S for SUV. So we've seen SUVs before, so I'm not going to talk about that as much, and I'm going to strictly focus on the truck here, but do know that the SUV exists as well. So at first glance, it's got some great specs. The base model starts at a 250 mile range, and it goes up to 400 mile range for the top end model. Lowest model starts at $69,000. They haven't really released what the prices are going to be on the higher end models. It's also going to have level 3 autonomous driving. So there's 5 levels to autonomous driving. First level is just no autonomy at all. It's basically like every car out there now. Level 2 is basically it can do adaptive cruise control, so it can stay in its lane on the highway, switch lanes if you tell it to, but basically it's just a smarter cruise control. Level 3 is actually better at seeing different obstacles and avoiding them, and all that kind of stuff comes with level 3 autonomy. So Tesla's autopilot is only on level 2 right now, and Rivian is looking to step that up to a level 3. It will be able to get a 200-mile charge in just 30 minutes from a DC fast charger. Obviously, a lot of factors play into that, but that's just what has been reported. And along with all of that, it's got an interesting design as well, and I think that's very important for electric cars to get right. A lot of them try to almost push the future thing too much and end up not looking like a car anymore, and it just doesn't look good. We want something that's a little more classic, but still pushing the boundaries a little bit. So with all those specs and the design I just mentioned, I think there's 5 things that electric cars need to get right if they want to be successful. So first is range. This one, obviously the higher end model hits 400 miles, which would easily compete with any gas car. But the lowest end model is still at about 250, which you're still going to have some range anxiety with that. If your car can't go 250 miles without charging, you might be a little scared to take that car on a road trip per se. Next thing is price, and with this one it's hitting about $69,000. Obviously some fully maxed out trucks are obviously going to exceed that, so definitely a good price point here, not completely ridiculous. Third is going to be autonomous driving features. Obviously, if it's trying to go to a level 3, that's going to be more than enough autonomy for a standard driver, especially in a couple of years here. Fourth is charging. So 200 miles in 30 minutes is definitely doable. And lastly is design. Like I said, this car's got a very interesting design. You can see by the headlight especially, it's definitely trying to push the envelope a little bit in terms of a truck design. So speaking of that design, you can tell that this truck is catered towards truck owners. It's not an electric truck, it's a truck that happens to be electric. So this is what Rivian is calling an electric adventure vehicle, or EAV for short, and it definitely shows in some of the features they've showed off. So first thing I noticed, it's got an air suspension, so if you're driving on the highway, you can lower that so you can get some better range. And if you're driving off-road, you can raise that up so you can go over some bigger rocks or rougher terrain. And because of that air suspension, they've actually built in an air compressor into the bed of the truck. So if you're going out rafting or something like that, you can plug into that and fill up your raft in no time. It's kind of a neat extra feature if you're going to be doing a lot of camping and have to inflate things and stuff like that. It's also got standard 110 volt outlets in the bed of the truck, so if you got to plug in some kind of equipment or anything like that, you're good to go there. Another interesting thing I noticed is it's going to have off-road contour maps. So basically, if you're going off-road, this truck will still know where you're at and what the terrain is like. Also, because it is an electric car, there's no intake for the engine, no front air intake for the engine, which means this truck will be able to survive in a meter of water, which is around 3 feet. So if you do hit any kind of flooding or anything like that, you're actually going to be able to drive in deeper water like that. Along with all of those features, it's got a ton of storage, even more so than a regular truck. Obviously, it's got the standard bed. It's also got a gear tunnel in the center part of the truck, and it's also got a front trunk like a lot of other electric cars. So definitely no shortage of storage. Definitely no shortage of storage in this truck at all. There's going to be plenty of room to fit whatever is necessary for whatever you're going to be doing. So this announcement they did a couple of weeks ago was not a product release. It was just an announcement. They're just trying to build hype with this truck right now and their SUV that I mentioned earlier. So right now the truck and SUV are available for pre-order for $1,000 down. It's completely refundable. So if you're thinking about wanting this truck, definitely go ahead and put your reservation down. You can always take it back. And they are looking at releasing this in 2020. So lots of very interesting features here. Obviously some we have seen before and others we haven't. They've definitely got a market for this truck. I think the electric vehicle community was missing this one thing, and Rivian is trying to fill that void here. I'll be interested to see what their future is. Obviously we've had some issues with other startup electric vehicle companies like Faraday Future and others like that, Lucid Air, that have failed recently. So I think the biggest thing right now for them is just continue to develop this truck and actually meet that 2020 deadline for their release. And they're definitely poised for some success here. So thanks for watching. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you like these electric car videos. Leave a comment with any questions you have about the truck. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And any other vehicles you want me to talk about in the future, definitely looking for other suggestions. And also like this video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.